Welcome back to Bedtime Stories to Fall Asleep. My name is Vulcan. Enjoy. The next day, the happy prince asked the little swallow to stay with him at least one more night. The swallow did not want to stay any longer because winter was coming. The north winds were already blowing from the north, cold and strong. So he had to make a choice between discomfort of the city and the comfort of Egypt. And that is when he realized in comfort there is no growth, there is no adventure. Yeah, he would be under some big bright sun and he would be sunbathing there under some, or maybe staying under the shadow of a palm tree. But let me ask you, what makes for a more interesting story? Some bird lying under a shadow all day long, or this bird in the city as the cold winds are coming into the city, and him and the happy prince finding out people with deep problems and helping them sleep, helping them with their challenges? What makes for a more interesting story? The second one, of course. And that is when the little swallow realized he's not a slouch coucher. He's not somebody who's gonna slouch couch under the sun all day long doing absolutely nothing. That's boring. Instead, he's an adventurer. He's somebody who loves adventure. He loves being outside of his comfort zone. Yeah, even that, if that means being a little bit uncomfortable with a little bit of cold wind. That's not gonna kill you, right? It's not the worst thing in the world. So he decided to stay with the prince. However, there was a little bit of a problem, if you remember from last time. The problem was the prince had left both his eyes to help two of his citizens to help with their sleep problems. So now he was blind and he could not see who needed help from him in the city. So they wanted to help people, but the happy prince could not see. He was blind. So what did they do? Well, here's what they did. The happy prince talked with the swallow and he asked the little swallow to be his James Bond. Like in the James Bond movies, he would be M and the little swallow would be like James Bond, going through the cities, flying all around and finding people that they could help. So that is what they decided to do. The little swallow got excited and he flew straight into the city to find somebody that they could help. And very quickly, he was drawn by the aroma of sausages into a barbecue joint. And there he heard also the sizzling of those sausages on the barbecue. And he saw a little boy, a 7-year-old boy with black powder on his face and a lot of... He was working right there, right outside the barbecue joint with a black shoe polish in one hand and a black shoe polish powder in the other. And he was also right now holding that blue shoe polish and going very, very quickly back and forth on the black shoe of a man. And as he was doing that, very concentrated on his work, going back and forth, just as his stomach started rumbling a little bit because he had not eaten the last 2 days. And he had not slept either the last 2 days, as you're going to find out why in just a moment. The little boy and the little swallow saw a little boy getting kicked by the sharp edge of a broomstick right in his stomach. The owner of that barbecue joint had just came out and he did not want boys outside his barbecue joint. So he shouted at the boy to get out, and the boy, crying, he started running away and went back to his alleyway where he was staying with his sister. And there with his sister, they talked with each other. The day was already finished anyway, so he decided not to go back. Talking with his sister, he found out that he asked her if she had made her some money that day, and unfortunately she had not. They were both left by their parents many, many years ago, and now they were alone, defending for themselves. That's kind of sad, isn't it? Defending for yourself against everything, all other forces, being alone in the world. And that is kind of how they felt. And as the sun started going down, they decided to go to sleep, or at least to try to fall asleep, because their stomachs were empty and they did not know. The boy especially, he did not know if he would fall asleep. His sister, she was a fast sleeper, even though she had not eaten for the past days. As soon as she put her head under, they took some piles of leaves, brown and red and yellow leaves that had fallen down from the trees in that autumn. They put them down, they put the heads under that leaf pillow, and his sister, she immediately went to sleep. And as her brother saw her, he would not help but feel a little bit jealous to her. Have you ever felt that way, by the way, by other people when they seemed very energetic, especially when you didn't sleep last night? I've definitely felt a little bit like that, seeing somebody and thinking, yeah, you got 8 hours of good sleep last night, didn't you? That's how he felt towards his sister, and he tried to fall asleep as well. The little swallow decided to join the two kids, and he flew down and made a little nest at the little leaves there, and he slept. And the little girl slept as well, but the boy did not. Fast forward the next morning, the little swallow rose up and he saw the two kids talking with each other. The girl was stretching her arms and telling her brother that how she was exhausted after getting just 6 hours of sleep. And her brother, when he heard that, how her sister was complaining about just 6 hours of sleep, yeah, he loved his sister, but he could not help become a little bit resentful towards her about complaining about just losing 1 or 2 hours of sleep. So that day, when her sister proposed that they both go into the street and try to make money together, the boy said he rejected her sister, he pushed her away, and instead he went alone that day to try and find food for himself, even though that meant if they didn't find food that day, that was the third day that the boy was sleep deprived and food deprived. If he did not find food, that could mean he could die. So what's gonna happen next? Is he gonna find some food? Well, before we go there for just a moment, can you keep a secret? I want to tell you something about pushing people away when you have insomnia and bad sleep, because that is something I've definitely had some experience with when I had insomnia. I kind of felt like a black slave in the 1500s. You know what a black slave in the 1500s, when he wants to talk with somebody, what they do? They take a whip and they whip him with the whip. There's no talking with others. And I kind of felt like that whenever I wanted to talk with somebody. I felt like I would be getting whipped, but not by my white masters, but by insomnia. And what would I get whipped away from? My energy. During the day, I felt like my energy, if I didn't keep my energy and put it in my work, I thought I needed all my energy in order to survive during the day. And if I spoke with others, I thought all my energy would drop down and I would not have any energy to continue, especially after lunch. So what did I do? During lunch, I would find the one table Even though I wanted to speak with my friends and talk with them, I would find one table where there was nobody, or would be just one or two people there, and I would take a few sandwiches with rye bread. I would sit on my table and eat in silence, feeling like a complete slouch culture. Even though I felt that way, I felt like I had no other option. It wasn't until I got rid of my insomnia and I had good sleep, that I would sit on a table with lots of other people and I would enjoy talking with them and speaking and just connecting with others. It energizes me and fills me with positive, good emojis, just fills all my blood with happy emojis, speaking and talking and chatting with others. So, anyway, just a little bit about myself, injecting a story about myself into this big Oscar Wilde story. Now, going back to the Happy Prince and the Little Swallow went back to the Happy Prince, and he reported as James Bond to M, telling him about the two kids. So, the Little Swallow, of course, he asked the Happy Prince, so now we have these two kids that need our help. They really need our help. How do we help them? And the Happy Prince, he smiled, because even though he had given both his sapphire eyes to others, and he could not give them to help these two kids, he had one more trick up his sleeve. What was that trick? Well, tune in next time to find out. And also, one more thing that we're gonna find out, and it's this: the origin story of the Happy Prince. Because you might be thinking, yeah, he's the Happy Prince, but why do we really call him the Happy Prince? He does not seem like a very, very happy prince. In fact, the first time we met him, he was crying. Well, there is a secret associated with Happy Prince. He also had trouble falling asleep. What was wrong there? Well, tune in next time to find out. On January 31st, we come back to the Happy Prince and the Little Swallow, and what's gonna happen to the two kids? How are they going to help them? And is the little boy and the little girl going to repair their relationship? There is a little bit of tension there, isn't it? What's gonna happen? So tune in next time to find out. My name is Vulcan. I'll see you soon. Dormio, dormitor.